Hi, welcome to my presentation on Andy Goldsworthy. When I saw his name on the list, I immediately knew I had to do him because he's one of my favorite artists and he has been for a few years now. He grew up in Yorkshire, England, and while growing up, he would go and work on a farm after school. And this is important because this is when he started to grow a fascination and a knowledge about nature and agriculture, and this then led him on to doing the work he does today. He went off to study art at the Bradford School of Art, but he soon came to realize that he preferred to work outside rather than in a typical studio. And so what he would do with his earliest works is he would go to the beach and find stones and place them and then photograph them. And then later on, he started branching out a little bit and using twigs and leaves, ice, snow, and a lot of other materials he could find in nature. I find that his process to be very unique and very different than a lot of the other artists that I have looked into before because of the materials he uses. When you work with things in nature, they're not going to be uniform, they're not going to be as sturdy, they're not going to be as reliable as if you were to use man-made objects. And I have this quote here where he kind of talks about this process and how he likes to go about it, and he says, "I enjoyed the freedom of just using my hands and found tools, a sharp stone, the quill of a feather, thorns. I take the opportunities each day offers. If it is snowing, I work with snow. At leaf fall, it will be with leaves. A blown over tree becomes a source of twigs and branches. I stop at a place or pick up a material because I feel that there is something to be discovered. Here's where I can learn." And I really just like thinking about this because every day when he goes out, he doesn't know what he's going to make. He can't really plan out something like a lot of other artists can. He can't make a bunch of sketches and all that kind of stuff and plan out all of this material. It all depends on what he finds that day and what inspires him that day in that certain location in that certain time of year. Down here I have 3 of his leaf patches. He's made so many of these over the years, and each one is very unique because each one is from a different place, different time of year, different kind of weather, different kind of tree or bushes. And so it makes every single one completely different than the others, even though they all have the similar, circle of colored leaves on the inside, different colors on the outside. But it's just really fun to look at them because you don't know, you can't really expect what you're going to see. You can't expect what kind of leaves you're going to see, what kind of colors you're going to see. It's always something new. He's gone on and made pieces of art all over the world, some locations being Japan, Australia, the US, the North Pole, but most of his work has been done in England and Scotland. It makes sense because England is where he grew up and he now lives in Scotland and lived there for many years, and that's the main place where he really creates his artwork today. His work is considered to be ephemeral, which pretty much means it doesn't last for a very long time, but he does this for a very specific reason. He says that movement, change, light, growth, and decay are the lifeblood of nature, the energies that I try to tap through my work. I need the shock of touch, the resistance of place, materials, and weather, the earth as my source. Nature is in a state of change, and that change is the key to understanding. I want my art to be sensitive and alert to changes in material, season, and weather. Each work grows, stays, decays. Process and decay are implicit. Transience in my work reflects what I find in nature. And that's why it's so important for him to take photographs of his work because it's not meant to last for a very long time. It's not meant to be seen by galleries or a bunch of people. He wants his work to be disrupted by a gust of wind, for it to slowly decay and crumple over time. That's the point of his work, and that's what he really tries to capture when he's creating it. There are some exceptions to his statement. He has made several permanent pieces. Most of them were commissions. An example of this is Earthwall that you can see right now. It is one of 4 pieces that the Presidio in San Francisco commissioned him to do. He created it by getting a bunch of tree branches and then sticking them to a concrete wall in a spherical shape. He then covered it in like this clay dirt mixture. And then the next day after it solidified, he went and dug it out. He said he wanted to feel like an archaeologist kind of discovering something old for the first time after hundreds of years. It is permanent. It is still there today, as well as the 3 others. I just chose to show this one because it's one of my favorite pieces he's ever done, to be honest. I've come to respect Andy Goldsworthy as an artist so much, not just because of how creative and original his ideas are and how each piece is a one-of-a-kind and so interesting, but because of the uncomfortable situations and the patience he practices in order to bring his ideas to life. As you can see here, for of his rain shadows, he's made many of these. And in order to make them, he has to lay completely still for an entire storm and then get up and hurry and take a photo. And as you could imagine, this is not a comfortable process. He has to lay there for a very long time in very uncomfortable conditions, but he does it because he really cares about bringing out the final product, and I really, really respect him for that, and the end products are always amazing. I have so much more to share about him, but if I were to do that, we would be here forever. So I'm not going to do that, but I hope you've come to learn more about him and come to appreciate his work as much as I have. And thank you for watching my presentation.